What if the moments when you feel most vulnerable are not when you are awake, but when you are asleep? Tonight we will explore a startling testimony from an ex-witch who claims to have witnessed the hidden activities of demonic forces during the night. Her story reveals a spiritual battle that many people never see, yet may be experiencing without realizing it. Whether you agree with her experiences or not, her account challenges us to think deeply about the unseen realm, the importance of spiritual awareness, and the power of protection while we sleep. One of the most eye-opening revelations shared by this ex, which is that dark spiritual forces look for moments when people are at their most vulnerable. During the day, our minds are occupied with work, responsibilities, conversations, and countless activities. We are constantly making decisions and interacting with the world around us. But when night comes and our bodies begin to rest, many people lower their guard without giving much thought to their spiritual condition. According to her testimony, this is why the nighttime hours are often viewed as an opportunity by forces that seek to bring fear, confusion, and discouragement into a person's life. What makes this testimony so powerful is not simply the claim that spiritual attacks exist. It is the reminder that every person should be aware that life involves more than what can be seen with the natural eye. Many people pay careful attention to protecting their homes, their finances, and their physical health, yet they rarely think about protecting their hearts and minds. The ex-witch explained that darkness seeks access wherever there is neglect, weakness, or spiritual carelessness. Her experience serves as a wake-up call for anyone who has become comfortable living without spiritual awareness. Think about how often people wake up feeling troubled after a night filled with fear and disturbing thoughts. Sometimes they dismiss those experiences without considering their deeper impact. Whether through fear, anxiety, temptation, or discouragement, negative influences can slowly drain a person's confidence and peace. The goal is not always dramatic destruction. In many cases, the objective is simply to weaken a person's determination, distract them from their purpose, and keep them from walking in faith and confidence. Small compromises can eventually produce larger consequences if they are ignored. Yet this message is not meant to make anyone afraid. In fact, it should inspire courage. The greatest lesson from this testimony is that vulnerability does not mean helplessness. Every person has the ability to strengthen their spiritual life and become more aware of what influences their thoughts and actions. Fear loses its power when people understand who they are and refuse to surrender their peace. Awareness is not about living in panic. It is about living with wisdom, discernment, and confidence in the face of challenges. The ex-witch's story reminds us that darkness thrives where people are passive, but it retreats when people become intentional about their spiritual lives. A person who develops strong faith, maintains a clear conscience, and seeks spiritual strength each day is not an easy target for fear and confusion. Instead of ending the day worried about what might happen during the night, we can rest with confidence and assurance. We can choose peace over anxiety and faith over uncertainty. We can refuse to allow fear to dictate how we live. So let this testimony challenge you to remain spiritually alert and intentional every day. Do not underestimate the value of guarding your heart, protecting your mind, and strengthening your faith before you sleep. The moments when you feel most vulnerable can become moments when you discover your greatest spiritual strength. As the ex witch continued sharing her experiences, she revealed something that many people overlook when thinking about spiritual attacks. She explained that the battle is often not fought through visible manifestations, but through the mind and emotions. This insight is important because many people expect danger to appear in obvious ways. Yet, according to her testimony, some of the most effective attacks are the ones that quietly influence thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. When a person's mind becomes overwhelmed with fear, doubt, and confusion, their ability to move forward with confidence can be seriously affected. Consider how powerful a single thought can be. One negative idea can grow into worry, and worry can grow into anxiety. Anxiety can eventually affect decisions, relationships, and even a person's sense of purpose. The ex-witch claimed that dark forces understand this principle very well. Rather than attacking openly, they often seek to plant seeds of discouragement that slowly take root in the heart. Over time, these thoughts can create strongholds that make people feel trapped, defeated, and unable to see the possibilities that still exist before them. Many people have experienced nights filled with troubling dreams or mornings that begin with an unexplained heaviness. They may struggle to focus, feel unusually discouraged, or battle thoughts that seem determined to steal their peace. The testimony of the ex, which suggests that these moments should not always be ignored. While not every challenge is spiritual in nature, it is wise to recognize that our minds require protection just as much as our bodies do. A healthy mind is one of the greatest assets a person can possess, and it should never be left unguarded. The encouraging truth is that negative thoughts do not have to control your life. Every person has the ability to challenge fear with faith, replace doubt with confidence, and exchange confusion for clarity. The mind becomes stronger when it is filled with truth, hope, and purpose. When people focus on what is good, constructive, and uplifting, they create an environment where discouragement struggles to survive. The more intentional we become about what we allow into our minds, the more resilient we become when challenges arise. The ex-witch emphasized that many victories are won long before they become visible. They are won in private moments when a person chooses not to surrender to fear. They are won when someone refuses to believe lies about their worth, their future, or their potential. Every time you reject thoughts that seek to diminish your confidence, you take another step toward freedom. Every time you choose hope over despair, you weaken the influence of negativity and strengthen your ability to move forward with courage. So guard your mind carefully and never underestimate the power of your thoughts. What you consistently believe will influence how you live, how you respond to challenges, and how you pursue your purpose. Protect your peace, hold firmly to truth, and refuse to let fear define your future. After exposing what she believed were the tactics of demonic forces, the ex-witch pointed to what she considered the most important lesson of all. She explained that awareness alone is not enough. Knowing that a battle exists has little value if a person never takes steps to protect themselves. This is why she emphasized the importance of spiritual protection. According to her testimony, the people who experienced the greatest peace were not necessarily those who knew the most about darkness. They were the ones who consistently strengthened their relationship with God and made spiritual preparation a daily priority. Many people spend a great deal of time preparing for challenges in the physical world. They create plans, build security, and take precautions to protect what matters to them. Yet spiritual protection is often neglected until a crisis appears. The X which warned that waiting until fear arrives is not the best time to begin building spiritual strength. Just as a strong foundation is built before a storm comes, spiritual confidence is developed before difficult moments arise. Daily habits of faith create stability that remains firm when pressure and uncertainty attempt to shake a person's peace. One of the most powerful forms of protection she described was prayer. Prayer is more than a religious routine. It is a declaration of trust, dependence, and connection with God. When people pray, they are reminding themselves that they do not face life's challenges alone. Prayer strengthens the heart, renews the mind, and creates a sense of peace that cannot always be explained by circumstances. It shifts attention away from fear and places focus on God's presence and power. This simple yet powerful practice can transform the atmosphere of a person's life. Faith was another essential element highlighted in her testimony. Faith is what enables people to stand firm when they cannot see immediate answers. It allows them to remain confident even when situations seem uncertain. Darkness seeks to convince people that they are powerless, abandoned, or defeated. Faith responds with a different message. It reminds believers that God is greater than any challenge they may face. When faith becomes stronger than fear, people begin to walk with confidence rather than anxiety. They stop being controlled by circumstances and start living with purpose and assurance. The X, which also stressed the importance of maintaining a close relationship with God. Spiritual protection is not based on a single moment or occasional action. It grows through consistent commitment. The closer a person draws to God, the more clearly they can recognize what strengthens them and what weakens them. A strong relationship with God provides guidance, wisdom, comfort, and direction. It becomes a source of strength during difficult seasons and a foundation that remains steady when everything else feels uncertain. So let this message encourage you to invest in your spiritual life every single day. Build your faith, strengthen your prayer life, and stay connected to God with sincerity and devotion. When spiritual protection becomes a priority, fear loses its influence and peace gains the final word. As we come to the end of this message, the testimony of this X, which leaves us with a powerful reminder, whether it is moments of vulnerability during sleep, battles that begin in the mind, or the need for spiritual protection, one truth remains clear. We cannot afford to ignore the condition of our spiritual lives. The unseen battles that seek to steal our peace, confidence, and purpose are real challenges that require awareness, wisdom, and faith. But this message is not about fear. It is about empowerment. No matter what darkness may attempt to do, it does not have the final authority over your life. Fear does not have the final word. Confusion does not have the final word. Discouragement does not have the final word. When you choose faith over fear, truth over deception, and trust in God over uncertainty, you position yourself to walk in victory rather than defeat. The strongest defense against darkness is not obsession with it, but a deep and growing relationship with God. So tonight, Make a decision to guard your mind, strengthen your faith, and remain spiritually alert. Refuse to surrender your peace to fear, and refuse to allow negative influences to control your future. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that God's presence is greater than any challenge you may face. Rest with peace, live with purpose, and stand firm in faith, because the light will always be stronger than the darkness.